So I didn't know what to do.
What?
So I didn't know what to do. I mean, what would you do?
I would use a Q-tip and be very careful.
Yeah, but I'll never be able to go into that restaurant again.
I'm sorry, not with your trousers pulled down around your knees and the Q-tip in your hand and the. Okay, I was gonna.
Here it comes from left field. Zing. I'm sorry.
You never saw The Godfather, did you?
Bits and pieces. Bits and pieces.
It's there's a scene in it where um, was it part two or part one? I think it's part one. Part one, where Al Pacino,
Mhm.
which played Michael Corleone, he has a sit down with like a mafia boss that
Okay.
shot his father or had his father shot, Marlon Brando,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he was there to make the peace because he didn't want any more war, but he was actually not there for that. They had
Yeah.
pre they had what you saw this scene already?
No, I'm listening and
They had planned to take that mafia guy out because you have on one side the mafia guy that made a hit on Don Corleone, which was Marlon
mhm.
Brando, and they were worried that they would keep going after him and kill other people in the family, so they agreed to a sit down,
Okay.
and they sent Michael, which was the youngest son, his youngest son, and so they're sitting at this Italian restaurant, but they had pre um, schemed to hide a gun under the toilet, duct taped to the toilet thing,
Mhm. To the lid,
so,
yeah.
so he could go and shoot the thing right there. And he says,
Mhm.
okay, when you go and do this, they planned it out. You go, you excuse yourself, go to the bathroom. It's going to be waiting there for you. You come back out, stand right there, and shoot two shots at him straight on. Then, without looking at anybody, turn around, walk out the door, drop the gun, walk out the door. Just let it slide off your hand. Don't even look at it. Don't look at people. Just keep going. So they're at that thing at that meeting in that restaurant, and at one point Michael says, "I gotta go to the bathroom." And there's an Irish police officer, a crooked cop there,
Mhm.
in the meeting just to make sure that nothing. And because he's the crooked cop is with the other mafia guy,
Okay.
because like they make deals and whatever, New York in the 19 whatever
Yeah.
40s or whatever, and or 50s, 40s, 50s, one of those two. Um, actually, it was probably older than that, but whatever. And so he frisks him, and he's got nothing, so he goes to the bathroom, and he gets the gun. And when he comes back out, you can see the scene from his eyes as he's approaching the table, and he turns around, pulls the gun, shoots the head mafia guy, bam, bam, and then he points to the other guy, bam, bam, and they both collapse, and people start screaming, and he just walks out, slips the gun, and um, I told you that story because of something.
Something I said made you think of it.
Yeah. Oh, well, no. I thought I had it now, and I didn't. I can't bridge that right now because you said something to the effect of, um, "And what do you do in that situation?"
Yeah, I said, yeah. Well, what would you do
Oh, I remember because I said you were standing with a Q-tip in one
with the
hand
trousers down?
and
May-
whatever.
Maybe we should introduce ourselves.
Okay, so that person right there is Mark Lindsay, CNC. Tonight he's just Mark Lindsay
Hmm.
of Trampled Underfoot podcast from the west coast of the United States of America.
Hmm.
And I'm Eloy Escajedo from the Caribbean island of Florida.
I love an inside joke.
I'm from the Turks and Caicos.
Hmm.
A Turk that likes cake. Oh,
Yeah,
um,
it's a good name for a bar.
so this is the Trampled Underfoot podcast for all of you new viewers that are rushing in right now.
Oh, yeah. Welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Step inside, step inside.
Yeah.
The right people will get it.
So, what's going on?
Oh, man, just fighting the good fight. Trying to take care of Linda if I can get her to sit down. I don't know if you've ever had a major surgery or if you've known somebody who's had a major surgery and had to kind of help take care of them. There comes this point in their recovery where they start getting real confident because the pain has gone away and they're supposed to take it easy to heal, to give the body a chance to heal. And I can remember this when I had a broken arm. My arm felt great. I was in a cast still. I didn't think I needed it, but my arm felt fine. And when you get to that point in your healing, you start trying to do too much because you feel good. There's no reason I can't do this. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to do this. That's where we're at now. That's where she's at now. Let me say that. And I'm sure she'll chime in here any minute. That's where she's at right now. And I'll tell you, she wears me out trying to get her to knock it off. She's under strict instructions from the doctor. She made it to her 1 month uh, post op checkup. And now the next checkup is in December. That'll be her 3 month. And at that time, if she's done everything that she's supposed to do, he's going to lift some restrictions on her. Because, like right now, she can't lift any more than about a gallon of milk, about 10 pounds. She's not supposed to bend her spine and she's not supposed to twist. And as he said, as much as you possibly can. You can't control what you do in your sleep. So if you roll over in your sleep, you didn't do it intentionally, it just happens. But don't freak if your spine twists a little bit. Just don't do it if you can avoid it.
Did he recommend avoiding certain music?
Bagpipes, yes, because the pipes weigh more than her allotted amount that she can
Oh,
lift.
so he did.
Yeah, he said, no, you're not going to play the pipes.
Oh, okay, so that might
So,
might. Well,
yeah,
let me
that's
just say
that's driving her nuts.
well, no, let me just say why I said that, but it failed on me because I would have not expected that. But there's space for that. But I was gonna say that she can't listen to any Chubby Checkers then.
No, she can't listen to Chubby Checker. Come on,
Come
baby,
on,
do that.
baby.
Do the twist.
And his second follow up, let's twist again like we did last summer.
That's right.
Can't do it.
Nope.
No Chubby Checkers.
Nope. No Chubby Checker. Not even Fats Domino because she ain't climbing Blueberry Hill either. But I'm telling you, Eloy, she's wearing me out trying to keep her still. She's wearing me out. I'm not. I try like hell not to be a mother hen. I really do. I try like hell not to be all up in her business and this, that, and the other. But she'll start to do something like, don't do that. Don't do that. Let me get it. Don't do that. Let me get it. You know? And so it's wearing me out. Uh, man. And he warned against that. He said, you're going to start feeling good.
Who doesn't like Chubby Checkers?
Linda.
I mean, honestly, there's no reasonable um, excuse.
Yeah.
Even taste. Even if you say, "Well, it's just my taste," there's no valid excuse for not liking chubby. I mean, you can like or you can not like that he's chubby, but How can that song be denied? Let's twist again, like we did last summer. I mean,
She was a country western fan. So her and Steve would get along just fine. She was into country western and classical music. She wasn't into the rock and roll. Then she met me, and now she kind of I I don't think she really is into rock and roll. She kind of tolerates it, but it's still not her favorite. She'd rather listen to bagpipes, or she got into this is way off topic, but what the hell? She got into this Russian folk band called Otava Yo, and I'll come into. I used to be. Um, I would get done here and go head down the hall to our room, and she would have. She has a playlist of their YouTube videos. She would have that just jamming, folding laundry, and doing all this, that, and the other stuff. Well, now she can't do that because I'm doing the laundry, and I try to keep it caught up. Tuesday was laundry day. Well, not anymore. Now it's when there's a load. So I took away a lot of her fun, is what I'm saying. I don't mean to. It's not that I'm trying to be a wet blanket. She said duct tape doesn't work. I have scissors. Yeah, I know. So it's um, it's tiring. It's tiring. She's 9 years older than me, and she wears me out. She's got more energy than I do.
I can't
So
get
let's
over this thing about, I mean, but no rock and roll?
I mean, she tolerates it. She just is not a fan. She'd rather listen to other styles of music, and that's fine. It's we all have our own personal tastes. She would rather listen to something like the Chieftains, Irish folk, than Pink Floyd, and that's fine. I don't, I
Says
don't,
you.
I don't want her to think like me. I want her to think for herself. And I've been that way with everybody. I'm not trying to turn somebody into me. We all have our own personal likes and dislikes. But think about this for a minute. Everything you said about Chubby Checker and everything you're going to say about Chubby Checker, and instead insert the words Rolling Stones. We all just have personal tastes. It's okay to not like something.
No, I just adore the Rolling Stones.
Yeah. The Stolen Roans? Yeah, right.
And if you don't believe me, just listen to our past episodes.
That's right. Let's see here. See what they're talking about out there. Um, Steve said something about when I started talking about do you get complacent, start feeling good, and want to overdo it. Steve says, "Yeah, Pam had to yell at me a lot." It really is a thing. It's let's see. Jim Dockrell says the vacuum, broom, and mop are things she should avoid. Then, absolutely, that's the stuff that I'm doing. You
Um,
know, I do the
so
laundry, I do the cooking, I do the dishes, I do all that stuff, but I don't do windows.
so I think it would be, I want to just a quick mention, uh, memory, remembrance of David Jones.
Yes, thank you.
Um, so he passed away last week.
Yeah, yeah,
And I just wanted, he was always with us. I mean, he lived his life and stuff, but he was
sure.
part of our circle.
Yeah.
Um, and he was always there. I feel like he's still here.
Hmm.
Um, I would reach out to him like I do with many of you guys, and I throw a link out,
Hmm.
or we'd say exchange a few things.
Hmm.
Um, during the moments like in these past years, where
Yeah.
we haven't been doing group hangouts necessarily,
Yeah.
and his presence, um, his personality, his is something that carried weight. Um, and so there's nothing that I can say, but he was a very special human being, a very sincere person. He there's there's not there's nothing that I could say to complete something
Yeah.
um, that would be justify or pay a complete and correct um, honoring.
Hmm.
But he was a very special person, a
Hmm.
very unique person with a particular way about him. His essence
Hmm.
is recognized by me,
Hmm.
and I just wanted to just mention that. So
But David was down home country, and he was a straight shooter. If he liked you knew he liked you. If he didn't like you, he would let you know. His presence will be missed. When he wasn't around, his presence was missed. But when he was there, um, I mean, what can you say? The guy was, I can say it now, the guy was a big teddy bear. He really was. He had a heart of gold, um, generous to his family, most of his family, except the ones who had done him wrong to a fault. He loved the hell out of his daughters. They were his pride and joy, the light of his life. And I hope they can find some comfort. Um, it's rough when anybody passes, but when one of your friends go, it's never easy. But what can you say?
yeah, yeah, it's and and like with Patrick,
Yeah.
um,
Oh my
I
gosh.
couldn't I couldn't even um, find myself the will or the boldness or
Hmm.
courage to mention anything publicly necessarily. Maybe I didn't when we
Hmm.
did a show, but um,
Yeah.
because it was just too shocking for me. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
perpetually, I've mentioned before, in this life,
Hmm.
just perpetually shocked because I've had loss has always been there since I was basically in my 20s.
Yeah.
Um, so that leaves you, or at least me,
Hmm.
um, just perpetually shocked,
Yeah.
holding on for when which like the blues song. Where's the next one coming from? I think
Yeah.
Buddy Guy sang a song like that. Um, but
It's weird. Um, I'm the old man of the family, of my dad's side of the family. My dad's sister, my aunt Sue, she lives north of me, about 4 hours north, 3.5 hours north, something like that. We talk here and there, but that's about it. She's the old woman of the family. I'm the old man of the family. I've inherited my dad's position that he inherited from his dad. And I don't know how to take that, to be honest. My mom's younger brother is still alive, still actively working. He's got to be getting close to 80 years old, and I don't think he's ever going to retire. Um, he's the old man of my mom's side of the family. And I know I haven't spoken to him in a while, but I know he wasn't handling that thought well. Because when you're the old man of the family, who do you look up to? Who do you talk to when you've got to make decisions? Who do you bounce ideas off of?
You're the
You know?
village. There's two roles. There's
Hmm.
one, the village idiot, and then the other one, the village elder.
Exactly.
And here's the thing about human beings: we're both at any stage of our life because we are imperfect.
Hell,
But but what you can't do. No, no. Listen to the spinal bit of it because it might, it could go. Because I just paralleled two things, but it's actually true.
hmm
Um, with humility,
hmm
if we look at it, we know. I'm assuming that there's all this stuff that we're just unsure about because I mean we're still figuring stuff out, you know.
exactly.
But at the same time, based on the experience and the road march down,
Hmm.
um, that wisdom section is something that the others in the tribe, generally speaking, on average and above that, don't have. They have a bunch of the mistake possibilities and brilliant moments because they're human, but they're still experiencing life at
Sure.
whatever. Whereas the elder of the tribe, he's human and fallible, but he
Mhm.
also has all this chunk of walked, lived in shoes.
Yeah. They're still figuring out life. They're still getting their acts together. They're still living their life. As you say, they're going out on their adventures and they're exploring college and they're exploring jobs and they're thinking about relationships and this, that, and the other. Um, we get together Thanksgiving and Christmas and things like that. And we discuss and we chat on occasion, get on the phone. My oldest daughter, she's like, Dad, I don't want to talk on the phone. I'd rather just text me. I'm like, sweetie, I can text you, but would you rather I text you to say happy birthday or call you or come over? Well, yeah, okay. So the minute I get her on the phone, we're on for like 3 hours. This from the girl that doesn't want to talk. She'd rather text. So, um, a couple of them come to me with questions, but basically I try to leave them alone and live their lives. Like I said, I've never tried to get anybody to think like me. I want them to think for themselves. If they ask my opinion, I'll give it to them. But I'm not going to run in there and say, no, 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 you got to do this, this, and this. That's not my place.
You know what I
You
think
know,
this country needs more of?
hmm,
Sears Roebuck family photographs with matching. You know how it used to be. Um, and what that means is um, a holding on to or preservation. Doesn't mean just that literally. I'm just using that as
hmm,
an anchor point.
yeah,
We need, or maybe it's my bias. I don't think that the past and the lessons should be abandoned,
I agree.
and the new generations, m- by default, are gonna rebel and explore, as you just mentioned.
Hmm.
Um, and I guess it's more of a hope than I'm not insisting on it
Hmm.
because we can't really insist on it unless we risk being like whoosh,
Yeah,
whoosh. But I guess to each their own and this and that, but that thread is a glue or a rubber band. I think it's important. I didn't mean to go off, but um,
I think you're right. You're absolutely right. There's a lot to be said about tradition. There's a lot to be said about history. I hear a lot of people saying, in the pop culture, you hear, well, A lot of traditions are just foolish. And why do we put so much effort into hanging on to tradition? And my answer to that is okay, which one do you want to cancel first? Christmas or Thanksgiving? Most people don't know the reason for either one of those things. They do it for tradition. So if you don't want Thanksgiving dinner, you can go get a hamburger on Thanksgiving Day. If you don't want the tradition of Christmas, save your money, but don't expect a present from me. We'll just cancel that whole thing and consider December 25th to be a free day off work like you do Memorial Day. You know, some traditions are there for a reason, and it's more than just the things you get out of them. Some things, traditions are there for the things you put into them, the effort that you make towards somebody expecting nothing in return, you know.
We're 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 also, um, let me say this: we are also participants, you and I and all of us, in the stories of our lives, in the narratives.
Hmm.
This is important, actually, or at least just what I'm. Um, if you think of the United States, it could be Canada or any other country, but like let's say just because it's what I know best. Um, we have traditions that have been a continuance,
Hmm.
such as Christmas, um, you know, Thanksgiving, Easter, just
Hmm.
all these different, Fourth of July,
Sure.
and all these things. And if you take 100 people on the Fourth of July,
Mhm.
and they're all celebrating that here in the U.S. in their individual places, not everybody is going to have the perspective of or categorize the importance of it with this was when we became independent. We had to
Right.
fight, but this was declaration. So, uh, so like some people might know that,
Hmm.
but the festivities, a festivus for the rest of us,
Hmm.
the festivities aspect of it, or maybe the we get to blow stuff up,
Yeah.
or
We got
maybe
the pretty fireworks. We either go to a show or we're down at the end of our driveway in the cul-de-sac.
all these variations of where that list falls out of these 100 people in
Hmm.
America in their respective areas might view the holiday with different sets of 1 to 10 of importance of what's what and
Sure.
stuff. But collectively, tradition wise, the date
Hmm.
is again like an anchor
Hmm.
that no matter the fact that we're all individual people. I like comic books and Dungeons and Dragons. Mark is riding motorcycles up and down San Francisco or Oregon. Jim is messing with guitars and building guitars and this that and the other. Steve Nealon, is trucking around working. In his jobs across America, going up to I think it was Minnesota and then down to Texas and this and I just people are doing all the different things but the convergence point or the reference point is Fourth of July. Even though if I were to knock at your door and say, "Hey, Mark, tell me about this holiday. What's what's your angle on it?" and you were to lay that out, it might differ. But the umbrella
Hmm.
is the tradition.
The glue that holds us together. Yeah.
And so just to finalize it, and it could be Thanksgiving, Christmas, it could be all
Yeah.
these things.
Whatever.
It could be picnics at the park or the
Hmm.
beach. I mean, these are things that are or the lake for some people
Hmm.
that don't have. Um, um, these traditions are like communiques between the citizens of
Hmm.
said country,
Yeah.
whether spoken or not. It's an anchor point,
Yeah.
and that tradition, whether or not people are sitting there and saying, "Now we shall open the Constitution, and we shall begin to, read from it." Sit
Hmm.
down, family. Like whether that's that, or it's like, "Hey, man, it's party time," or whatever. Yes, it matters, but no. The overarching thing in this argument that I'm making is that the tradition itself is justifiable, sufficient, even if the people aren't on about, the
The
struggles that people
independence.
put
Yeah.
in. Exactly.
Yeah. And I'm with you for that. And excuse me, I'm with you on that because if you hear fireworks on the 4th of July, it doesn't phase you. You know it's 4th of July. If you heard them on the 8th of June, that's out of place. That makes no sense. But the 4th of July is something that everybody in America can wrap their heads around. Whether they're in your tribe or not, we're all out in the same cul de sac lighting fuses. You know, we're all participating in this tradition. Whether we have said two words to each other the rest of the year, we're all out here in the middle of summer having fun.
Right.
And maybe you're drinking sodas from my cooler and I'm drinking sodas from yours because I happen to be over in your driveway while your 8-year old lights the fuse on that Roman candle. It doesn't matter. It's kind of a glue that sticks everybody together. You know what I mean? Now, not everybody is going to celebrate. Linda and I have become the old people in this cul de sac. I don't buy fireworks, but I enjoy watching the neighbors' kids light their fireworks. We do. Linda and I, we get our lawn chairs and we sit right there behind the tailgate of the pickup and we just watch. That led me to the conclusion that a lot of these holidays and a lot of these traditions are geared towards the kids and not the adults. I mean, when you were 8 years old, Christmas was a whole lot different than when you were 38 or 48 years old. That anticipation, that wonder. I mean, by that time, maybe you didn't believe in Santa, but you knew there was going to be stuff under that tree. There was an excitement there. You wanted to watch the Christmas parade on TV, and you looked forward to that dinner. Whether you went over to Auntie's house or Grandma's house, or if you stayed home and the family came to your house, you looked forward to that. And I don't know. I'm looking at this whole thing with rose colored glasses, but it is something. Hell, Jewish friends of mine loved Christmas. They loved Christmas, and they would put up a Christmas tree. You walk in their house and you go, "Beautiful Christmas tree." They're like, "No, no, that's a Hanukkah bush. It's not a Christmas tree. That's a Hanukkah bush."
It's
Okay,
funny.
all right, if you say so. Whatever gets you through the night.
The we can't help
Mhm.
but be telling ourselves, okay, let me see how I say this. Obviously, there's no escaping me,
Mhm.
as far as I know, and because I'm me and I'm operating me, as far as I know. Um, and my perspective on the world is how I'm translating or digesting the world and then judging it. You understand? Like,
Yeah.
just what I think about this, that, and whatever. Um, but I have to have something to stand on, a reality that I think this is how this works, that's how that works.
Right.
Um, I can't be changing that up
Mhm.
frequently,
Mhm.
um, because that brings instability. Why I'm saying that? Since we all live within the story, now we're just looking at of not only ourselves, that's fine, but we all collectively live inside the story of this country, this nation.
Mhm.
And we have common um, traditional things that have been forwarded,
Mhm.
that we all accept, agree on for the most part, but we know that those things are there, like the Hanukkah
Mhm.
bush. Um, like they're not Christian,
Right.
but the reality fabric around us,
Mhm.
so they participate the way they can, the best way they
Sure.
can,
Yeah.
while not betraying their
Right.
particular thing. Well, here's the thing: um, we can't help but be exactly what we are
Mhm.
with the mainframe stories that we were given,
Mhm.
that we saw repeated on TV, the attitudes and comebacks and exchanges of ideas on the radio with the hosts, between friends, teachers, and like we are of this place. We are of the stories of this place
Mhm.
because those things have penetrated the mind and have created a base that we stand on.
Mhm.
Now, that's not to say that somewhere out there, maybe up in Kentucky, there's people that are totally into like some sort of like militia thing, and they're about bug out,
Yeah.
and they have their own particular. Maybe other people are in the artsy fartsy world, and they're like
Yeah.
all about like splashing paint with a
Mhm.
ruler. I don't know what the hell.
Super soaker.
We have all these variations, but there's this mainframe reference point
Mhm.
stories, this, that, and the other. These holidays are like that, and even if you and Linda aren't there lighting the firecrackers, but instead sitting and watching, lawn chairs looking out, um, and maybe it's meant for the kids so that the tradition continues. And in fact, that's true. Um, but you're still participating from your lens,
Mhm.
and in effect, it's not just that the kids are shooting off fireworks, and it's meant for them, but they are noticing that it's meant for you from
Mhm.
their perspective because you're the bringers of the tradition. And so it creates this loop or this continuance. And so that's beautiful. So now, I bring that up, um, uh, just to say that I guess, um, stories are good.
Mhm.
Stories are good, even even when they're not true.
Well.
Some story. Well, no. Let me conclude with this because there's a catch to that too.
Mhm.
That I believe is true. Um, that's how I accept
Mhm.
things like variations of churches and, this
Sure.
and the other, because there's a benefit going on. But there's a catch to it too. Some ideas can be or direct or have consequences that, um,
Yeah.
that would be not necessarily a plus.
Yeah.
But that said, stories, myths,
Mhm.
legends, those things are special things. I mean, as long as we're like more or less grounded, I would assume,
Mhm.
like to reality. You know what I'm saying? Somewhat.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think that stories are good.
even fiction. I mean, that's the only thing that I was gonna go for is most stories are fiction. I don't think anybody really honestly thinks that Winnie the Pooh ever existed, you know? There's debate about Paul Bunyan and his Blue Ox Babe or John Henry,
No, I think
but
John Henry existed.
well, maybe he did, but There are those who say, no, that's a myth, that's a legend. Okay, well, that's fine. But here's my question: does it really matter? Maybe it's the story that matters more than the actual person, you know? And it's just kind of going right along with what you said. I mean, stories are good. Storytellers are needed, whether it be through music or poetry or the written word on pieces of paper, somebody who wrote a book or something of that nature. The stories have a value, whether they're true or not. They have a value. They're either something to admire or they can serve as a word of warning.
Cautionary.
Yeah, a cautionary tale or just a flat out don't do this. We tried it and this is what happened. It doesn't work, you know? So I think the story is important. And I'm going to be honest with you. When I'm out watching the kids light their fountains on 4th of July, or they're in their costumes trick or treating around I don't care if they know why they're doing that. I only care that they're having fun doing it. It's not my job to tell my neighbor's 6-year old what 4th of July was about. That's not my job. That's their parents' job or their school teacher's job, if their parents know, or even if they don't. And if their parents migrated here from another country, how would they know? So, but it's not my job. I'm not the neighborhood historian, you know. My job on 4th of July is to enjoy and, watch the kids have fun. It's that makes it fun for me. That gives us pleasure to watch the kids have fun, you know.
When I found out Santa Claus was not um,
Nothing, yeah.
real.
Don't
Um,
say that too loud. You don't want to break Steve's heart.
what's that?
Don't say that too loud. You don't want to break Steve's heart.
Right. Um, First of all, in my house or in my family, since we had the Caribbean tradition, it wasn't so. I was at home. Yeah. So let me just say, at home, um, based on the American tradition, my parents
Hmm.
went with Santa Claus.
Hmm.
But Santa Claus is not the only option.
Hmm.
Um, and,
Father
and in
Christmas.
the Spanish world, they would use the three wise men instead of Santa Claus.
Okay.
Although Santa Claus became popular throughout the time, but
Hmm.
it was San Nicolas,
Hmm.
Saint
Saint
Nicholas,
Nicholas. Yeah.
but not, but and then they use Santa Claus,
Hmm.
which is Santa Claus, but the
I,
real way would be to say Saint Nicholas for
yeah.
them, especially with the Catholic
Hmm.
connection.
In Great Britain, they still have Father Christmas, and the Santa Claus that we know here in the U.S., they refer to him as the Coca-Cola Santa because he was popularized in Coca-Cola ads.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
remember
they
those.
they still they still refer to Father Christmas. Um, Other countries refer to Father Frost. Uh, Saint Nicholas is all over mainland Europe. A
Well,
lot of different cultures.
that's where it filtered into Spain,
Right.
into the Caribbean, and into
Hmm.
Cuba
Hmm.
because of the Spanish.
Right.
But mainly it was the three wise men. But so my parents would. So I grew up with Santa, but when my grandparents would come over because they were a generation older,
Right.
um, they would reference him to me as as San Nicolas.
Hmm.
And I was like, "Who's that guy?" This ain't Santa Claus. What are you? And like in my mind, because I'm a kid. And then they would also say it's also going to be the three wise men. And I said, three wise men? What's all this about? This just doesn't, there's so much more going on.
Hmm.
So I had the three wise men. I had this guy called Saint Nicholas, and then I had Santa Claus. But Santa Claus was the standard, right, at home.
Hmm.
Because my parents, I guess, I don't know if this is true, but they would have considered we're gonna um, offer our son the tradition of what is the of the country that he's born in.
Yeah.
Um, they didn't deny the other things,
Hmm.
but it was my grandparents that would come over and say
Hmm.
these words that would throw me a little bit. I'd be like, wait, 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 wait. Are we in the same reality? What story are you trying to tell me here?
Hmm.
Um, so that's just an interesting thing. But anyway, so I
So,
found,
so you're sitting there as a 6-year-old going, "Oh, goody, 5 times the presents.
I
I'm not
thought,
getting one present. I'm getting five now. Cool."
and sometimes it worked out that way. Like my grandmother would come over and she'd say, "This is from the three wise men," and she gave me the gift. So my grandmother on my mother's side,
Mhm.
thinking about it, she was very much holding on to the Spanish tradition in all
Well,
its glory,
I can
and
see
she
that.
passed that, and she would pass that on in just more. The everybody else did, but that grandmother of mine, my maternal grandmother Agueda, she would refer to Latin America
Hmm.
as Iberia America. In
Hmm.
Spanish,
Yeah.
that's how the Spanish would say it, because
Hmm.
it's Iberian, not Latin, this, that, and the
Hmm.
other. She would reference anything to do with Central South America, all of it, as Ibero Imeri. Now I'm mixing English and Spanish. Ibero, Ibero, Ibero America.
Hmm.
Ibero, Iberian
Iberian. Hmm.
America. As opposed to this whole thing with Latino and this, that, and the other, that
Hmm.
had no place. I mean, it gained traction, but
Yeah.
it had no place in the concept of. In any event, it was Christmas. I opened the closet door and I saw these rolls, and the rolls happened to be the same paper that my gifts were wrapped.
Hmm.
And I said, and I came up to my mom and I said, "Mom, in the closet, there's wrapping paper, and it happens to be the same patterns that my gifts are." And she says, "No, no, son. It's a Santa Claus wrapped them, and there was paper left over, so he left the rolls with us." Notice,
Doing everything to keep that going. Just, oh, I don't want to admit my baby's growing up. Yeah.
but notice the contortion that
Uh,
in order to get the thing, and that did stop me for a second. I was like,
mhm.
"Wow, that's a damn good freaking that."
That's a good comeback.
Yeah, because why would Santa Claus be selfish and take the, if there's just a little bit left, he'll leave it with us? I mean, I reasoned it out, but then I said no.
How do you argue with that?
I walked up to her again and I said, "Mommy, mommy, no, tell me the truth, mommy." And I actually, I was interrogating. I was, "Tell me the truth, mommy." And she'd look at me and she says, "Son, that if you keep going, Santa Claus won't bring you any more gifts. Stop with the questions." She went to the kitchen and I said, "Mom, tell me the truth right now. Just tell me the truth." And she said, and she screamed out, "Eloy," to my dad.
Hmm.
"Look what your son," and my dad came out and he said, what's going on?" She said, he's not believing in Santa Claus." And he looked at me and said, "If you don't believe in Santa Claus, he's not going to bring you presents again. It's your choice." And I was, this was resistance.
Hmm.
My two figures that I trusted in were telling me, "Hey, you're going off into the desert. You're going off into the strange lands. Be careful. You have freedom to do so, son.
Hmm.
But if you do so, Santa may not come back."
Are you going to like the answer you get?
And here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. They were right. Because, in fact, the moment that I affirmed, Santa never came back.
Hmm.
You understand?
Yeah, I
So
do.
even though they were saying it to keep my innocence, but the whole thing is this. Even though there was no Santa Claus doing said thing, that you said about protecting the innocents, they were warning me.
Mhm.
This was sort of like the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. This
Mhm.
was sort of the moment of illumination and
Mhm.
fall into that you said. You're no longer the innocence there. Um, and she finally admitted it because I kept pressing because I knew I had something good.
Mhm. You had to be right.
I had the, and I told her, Mom, you know, and she said, okay, me, fine. There's no Santa Claus. You're right. And she went to the kitchen. I was like, I stopped and I said, did I just, is this? And then I came up to her and said, are you sure, Mom? Because you're a kid. You know,
Yeah.
if they would have
What do you want? What do you want?
if they would have held on,
Mhm.
I would have returned to
Mhm.
for a while more. I would have returned to it because okay, fine, that lingers with the wrapping paper, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna let that go for now. So, but I kept pushing, and I was so adamant about it that she says he knows, but
Mhm.
my innocence was still intact. But I was so convincing in my interrogation of the situation that she realized from her vantage point, look, I can't, he's
Yeah.
demanding it, so I'm gonna have to. But the point is that these traditions, and even though that happens and we lose it didn't change the fact that I appreciate the idea of Santa Claus
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Or the Easter Bunny, or any of that.
or
I
any of
mean,
them.
exactly. And that's why I do so love to live through the kids. I really do. I love to live through the kids because I'm an old guy, you know. Halloween just isn't fun without kids around. It just isn't. You know, I can't tell you the last time I carved a pumpkin. You know, I haven't bought a pumpkin in probably 30 years to 40 years.
Me neither.
What is that? In
It,
Cubo, it's Los Reyes Magos.
yes, it's the three kings, wise men.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. Um, Steve says, I still think the Tooth Fairy is just a sicko. Yeah. Last time I ever referenced the Tooth Fairy, oh, I think I was like 14. I lost a tooth, fighting or something like that. Hey, Pop, if I put this under my pillow, how much is the Tooth Fairy going to give me? He looked at me and goes, you put that under your pillow, the Tooth Fairy is going to crap in your shoes. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, gee, thanks for bursting that bubble there, Pop. You know, it's like you're 15, start acting, or 14 or whatever it was, start acting like it. Like, okay, well,
Yeah, that's a difficult
it
one.
was worth a shot. I was hoping for at least $5,
But the point is that these traditions and these things,
Mhm,
they are part of our stories.
mhm,
And how do we? So um, we're we have okay. So there's no escape as to the tapestry
mhm,
that we have that tells us about the world because that came infused with us, added to us through our family
mhm,
culture and so on and so forth, friends and our own, and just repetition and reinforcement and all that.
mhm,
So things are what they are in our mental maps.
mhm,
Um, but this is what I want to say about that. On the spectrum, or if you take a scale from light to extreme, or from one extreme to the other,
mhm,
and all the points in the middle, the average human being, the average person, when they think of Santa Claus,
mhm,
they more or less fit within the story of Santa Claus memories, like what we're
mhm,
doing, more or less. I'm assuming that's true. I think it's fair to say, okay. But then there's people that'll create like a horror Santa Claus movie.
Yeah.
Like in their minds, they just venture into,
Ho, ho, ho.
or they go to the extreme of like anything to do that's a lie like that. It's
Mhm.
just propagating, the
Yeah.
shacklement of, and so there's all these
Yeah.
things.
Christmas is nothing but commercialization. Okay, well, I'll take your present back. No, 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 no.
Right,
Yeah.
and they have a point in this and that. You can say because it's obvious there's but there's also the experience and this and the joy
Hmm.
and whatever, and fooling ourselves into a pleasant experience.
Hmm.
Um, you know,
Getting together with the family, having a big meal, and enjoying talking to one another, enjoying being with family. It may not be every Christmas tradition. I mean, like I said, we don't impose ourselves on our families. I don't show up on my daughter's door at 7 in the morning in a hurry to rush to the tree and open my presents. That's not how it goes. We go over late in the afternoon. She says dinner's going to be about 3 or 4. Okay, fine. We'll get there about 2:30. Let that family have their Christmas. Then we'll come over and celebrate with them later on. I don't impose myself on my kids or my grandkids. I gratefully accept the love that they show me, and I try to return that love. I try to show them love with, you know, hoping for nothing in return. So it's a strange thing. It's because it's hard to let go. It's hard to remember that this 40-year-old woman was the same kid I packed around the grocery store, holding her in my arms. Daddy, can I have this? That boggles my brain that this little girl that I took to the Care Bears movie when she was 5 years, 6 years old, that little girl is 40 and has kids of her own. That just, holy crap. Howdy, Bob. What's going on? Good to see you. Glad to see you make it. But let me ask you this about that. Do you think that this kind of thing is generational? Because um, I know, I only know what my dad told me and my mom told me about Christmas or Thanksgiving or New Year's or whatever when they were kids, or Halloween or any of that stuff. I never, you know what? I never thought to ask my grandparents what they did or how they celebrated those things. My grandmother on my mom's side, she would tell me about Christmas with her family, but nothing more really.
well,
You know,
you
I
witnessed it when you
uh,
were a kid.
well, no, but when she was a kid,
No, but I'm saying that she was the transfer from the things she saw to you. So in effect,
to to a point, yes, but by the time I came along, she was in the mindset of making dinner for the family. That this was a big my grandparents on my mom's side of the family, that was where all the get-togethers were. The whole and I mean they had a passel of kids and grandkids. A tons of grandkids. And when we all basically swarmed on their house, there was no time for stories. There was no time for any of that, no sharing of tradition back and forth. It was just a massive flood of people. And us kids were outside playing and doing this, that, and the other. And, it'd be me and my brother and 14 or 15 of our cousins just running around terrorizing the adults, go outside. Okay, fine. And we'd be off outside and what have you. So, but by the time I came along, it was more about feed the family than it was anything else. My parents passed down certain parts of that, which I'm sure they got from their parents and did their versions to suit, modern times and economies. My grandmother was never given a transistor radio for Christmas. I know that. I was. But then again, I was, 9 years old. So there you go. But it was, I don't know. I guess the Christmas that I experienced was based on what my parents passed down to me, not so much my grandparents.
Let me offer a different my thoughts on it. Um, I can see what you're saying, that as time changes,
Hmm.
certain circumstances alter
Hmm.
a previous tradition
Yeah.
in so much that what you are receiving is um, something different.
Hmm.
But things are passed down. So I'll say, if we, for this thought experiment, absolutely remove any originality from yourself or I.
Hmm.
In other words, remove the fact that we would assume to some extent that we have some originality in terms of
Hmm.
like just our reasoning for why we do things we do. We
Hmm.
remove all that, then there's only one place in this thought experiment where the things we do come from, and that is handed down from the instruction manuals or observing
Yeah.
our forebearers, and they in turn did the same with their parents. What I'm getting at is that um, even though certain facts change in terms of location,
Yeah.
amount of people at a um, the particular facial expressions, the tone, the choices of words, the choices of stories, the framing, the lessons, all these things together that you see from your parents,
Hmm.
from your grandparents, the choices they decide on, the way they answer one's question,
Yeah.
or the way they admonish a child to go in this direction instead of that, the way they decide that,
Hmm.
or the way they offer it, better said, is a direct, with the variations you said. There's always
Hmm.
there's always a shifting, because each individual also brings with them new discovery and new ways of doing things that alter things a little bit here and there,
Sure.
or a lot.
Well,
But included, well, let me just finish the thought. Included in our being, like,
hmm,
who I am, who you are. This is I left the thought experiment for now, but who you are, who I am, is the choices. Like right now, I just went like this with my hands.
yeah,
Um, the way I'm talking, the way I'm pausing. Yes, it's
sure.
me, but the instruction manual that set me up with my parents, my grandparents, their sense of what values were, all these things are represented in me and through
Yes.
me, even though at the same time there's that you said, where maybe me, a
Mhm.
derivative in that sense of them, makes a different choice than they did, but I still, there's enough
Right.
items that they gave me
Yeah.
that I'm revealing what they passed on.
Right. Well, you and I are different in that, for instance, your story about your grandmother, how that she would come and say it's also the three kings, and you had never heard that. She gave you that input and let you know what that was.
Mhm.
I never had that. When we did Christmas at my grandparents' house, it was after we came back. We moved to California. I was 5 years old, 4 years old. We moved back. I was 16 years old. So it was after that move back and before that move down. When I was a little terror running around, I just wanted more pie, basically. Just give me more pie and I'm good. So for that 10 years, we were in California. It was just my brother, my mother, my father, myself. Everything I knew about Christmas came from them. Yes, everything they knew about Christmas came from their families, but you had two different families blended into one.
Hmm.
So we had my grandmother on my mom's side was from Texas. My grandfather on my mom's side was from Oklahoma. On my side, my dad's side, my grandfather was from Oregon. My grandmother was from Los Angeles, California. So they had different paths, different childhoods. So by the time it was all blended together, it was completely different. It was completely different from what they had experienced when they were kids because they had to put their shared experiences together for their kids, which my parents then did for us.
Right.
So that's what I mean when I say there was no direct influence from my grandparents simply because of proximity. We
Well,
weren't there,
well,
but you had that influence. So you felt it a little bit more because of proximity. They were
okay.
there.
So under the category of Christmas,
Hmm.
so Christmas is a holiday, an event.
Hmm.
Um, but the people that celebrate it are constants
Hmm.
in throughout the year and in your life as a kid. Understand? So
Right, right, right.
it's not just the holiday, it's their behavior and choices during the holiday and not during the holiday and all the time. Those things are informed by what came before them that
Hmm.
that off that instructed them. So even though location and combinations exist, there is, I'll put it this way. Remember, we were talking about myths and legends and so on
Yeah.
and so forth. So, in a sense, we can't properly dissect what portions of lessons and behaviors that our parents handed down to us comes from the maternal side, the grandfather, this side. That it we could in some instances,
Hmm.
but in totality, it's a sort of handing down of what came before. They didn't just pop up and say, "Oh, I value this and I value that," um, just because I say so. No, it was instilled in them from the previous generation, one way or the other. That now they could rebel. Some people like there's all that, but
Right.
the point is that what came before. I'll just say it this way: um, who knows what people, my people, um, 300 years ago in a little town of Molledo, or that little area of Molledo up in the mountains of Spain, how they would have been practicing Christmas as opposed to what we did when I was growing up.
Hmm.
But I can tell you that I guess we could investigate, but I could tell you that in Spain currently
Hmm.
and in Cuba, I don't know about now, but when it was free,
Christian, yeah.
when it was capitalist and Christian, and here in Miami, we had 12 grapes on New Year's.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, that's different.
yeah, 12 grapes.
We had black eyed peas and rice.
My
That.
point is this. My point is this: that even though my cousins live in Spain and never left Spain,
Hmm.
and yet my family came to Cuba,
Hmm.
they still practiced something that came from before,
Right.
even though the particulars, there's a myth, legend, tradition,
Hmm.
story that but it's not perfect. It's just like I was saying in the beginning with the 4th of July, it may be that some people put on top of their list of importance that it's a firecracker, a fireworks
Yeah.
event. Other people might think of the constitutional significance, and so there's a lot of that. So yes, I understand and I agree, and it's
Hmm.
reasonable that you're not celebrating Christmas when you were a
Well,
kid exactly how your great grandparents were.
right.
Um, but all I'm saying is that alongside that, since your parents were taught by their parents and so on and
Hmm.
so forth, that in a sense you are officially, as good as it gets, the representative of all your
Yeah.
relatives combined into you.
Of all of it coming in. Yeah, and I agree with that. I understand that. But that's where I started this whole line of thought was, is it generational? And yes, it is to an extent. It
Right.
is generational
Yeah.
because my kids took what they learned from us and they're doing with that with their kids.
Yeah, you're the reference point for them.
Right. Exactly. Exactly
Nobody else is the reference point for them. They may have other reference points
right.
based on what they
Well,
saw
sure,
at
they got other
school,
influences
but the family reference point anchor is that it rests on
well
you because that's who they look back to.
to a point. It also rests with, in my case, their father, because my my daughter didn't have those kids by herself. The kids have a father, so his influences also influenced what they did for Christmas, because maybe his family did something different. Maybe they all had duck for Christmas instead of, whatever, you know.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
everything that came before you, I'll say it this way: everything that came before, everyone that came before you,
had an influence, yes.
rest on you,
Hmm.
and you passed all that
Right,
in a dissected and maybe parts
right.
of it, great parts of it, just simply, but just your choices of how you shake your head,
Hmm.
your choices of what makes you gleeful or makes you doubtful, or am I going to list off the seven
Yes,
dwarfs?
the other seven dwarfs, yeah.
Was there the one that makes you paunchy? Was there a paunchy in there? I don't
No,
know.
there wasn't a punchy. There
The
wasn't a.
one I was going to list off all the seven dwarfs. But the point is that who else can anybody come knocking the door at, and that door open to reveal the past that's their direct. Um,
Yeah,
you are
I
the door.
I get what you're saying. I am. That's what I mean when I say I'm the old man of the family
Hmm.
on my dad's side. So my daughters will come to me for that reference.
Hmm.
Now their husbands go to their fathers as well. So again, you have that blend.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know,
Because that's
so
all.
and it's but that's what I mean by when I say it's generational. So, and what I've been not so subtly doing with the generational talk is trying to bring up that video you sent me.
The what?
The video, the talking about Gen X and how we didn't have the internet and
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
how
yeah.
the hell did everybody know the same things? Was there a newsletter or what?
Yeah, yeah. There was a video I sent Mark, and in it was this dude reacting to another dude that was saying that there's something strange about Gen X. Have you guys not noticed? People usually ask me. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but he says
Mm,
people usually ask me, "How did you guys this, that, and the other communicate and know to do?" We all drank water from, like, for instance, we could not communicate with each other the way people today do.
yeah,
So how is it that we all have the same shared experience where we drank out of hoses? I did. Did you?
yeah, sure. I
I
still
did.
do.
Well, I don't still do, but whatever.
Yeah, if I'm out watering the garden or setting up something, I just, yeah, I'll take a drink out of it. I don't give a
I
damn.
have a nozzle thing, so it's like the pressure, and I could slow, so, but it's
Hmm.
like, whatever. But the
Okay,
point
okay,
is,
okay. Wait, okay. No, no, wait a minute. You have never kinked the hose, taken the nozzle off, opened it up, and taken a drink. kink the hose and then put the nozzle back on and go, "Bad
When I was
telling you."
a kid, yeah.
Oh man, hell, I did it last Wednesday.
But things like
See,
that.
don't ever lose that, man.
Well, things like that,
Mhm.
it's true. All these things that back in the past, um, we didn't have the communication ability that we have now, and it's a miracle that we even got in touch with our friends somehow. Obviously, we had telephones, but sometimes we just appeared in places and we were all there for some reason
Well,
out of the blue.
he said it in the video. Bicycles.
Yeah.
We all had bikes.
Hmm.
And wherever the bikes were parked in your neighborhood, that's where you knew your friends were.
That's
So
true.
you'd ride down the street and you see 3 bikes in front of Scotty's house. You went to Scotty's house because that's where your friends were.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. I mean,
But
um,
his point was, how the hell did we all know that? How the hell did we all live in thousands of miles apart know that?
or
We
share
all
that
did.
experience. Share that experience.
Exactly. When he started talking about the plastic cover on the couch, I lost it because my grandparents had that plastic cover on the couch
So did mine.
In Medford, Oregon in the 1960s. Linda and I got into because I sent her that video. Linda and I got into a discussion about that. I remember when the my grandparents got a new Datsun. And this was back when they were still being shipped over from Japan. They weren't being assembled in America. And it wasn't Nissan, it was a Datsun. They got a new Datsun, and there were thin, clear plastic covers on all the seats. Now, these were held on with real cheap, thin elastic bands that snapped around bolts on the seat brackets or a handle to slide it forward. And on the back seat, they were tucked around the back seat and were hanging on the hooks that held the back seat in place. They were supposed to have been removed by the dealer. It was there to protect the upholstery during shipping. My grandparents left them on.
Yeah.
They should have been removed by the dealer, but they left them on. What are you doing with that? I was like 10 years old. What do you do? Why you have that? Well, that protects the upholstery. Okay. In 6 months, they were all shredded just from people getting in.
Those Datsuns had little windows um,
Yeah.
behind, like you had your regular passenger window, but
Hmm.
right slightly behind, a little window that could open up. I
Hmm.
can't remember well enough now, but I think you had to roll it.
Hmm.
It might have been push out, but it was a little window.
Hmm.
I remember I, that's the car that my aunt had, and um, it was great.
Yeah.
I think it
I
was her
mean,
first car.
so you said something about Gen X, and I came back and I said to you, us late boomers too, because I had the same experience growing up. It was bicycles, it was plastic covers on the furniture, 2 cans of pork and beans in the pantry in the kitchen just in case. I remember this stuff. And when he's talking about it in that video, I'm like, to late boomers too. So I asked Linda, what about you mid boomers? She says, oh, yeah. The only difference for her was she was kind of rural. She didn't have a bicycle, she had a horse. And she would get on that horse and be gone, go across a couple of paved roads and then up in the hills and gone all day long.
That's almost like visions of Bonanza in a sense, if you think about it. That free,
Hmm.
um, you know,
Yeah.
I like the idea of that, and it's probably it's probably the direction that we're headed. We're all going to return to horses soon enough.
Which I think is going to be funnier than hell because the only people who know how to ride horses now are rich teenage girls. And maybe their parents, but it's completely different than it was back then. But she's told me stories. Yeah, she'd get up on a Saturday morning, eat something for breakfast, and she'd be gone on that horse all day long. Come back before the street lights come on. She'd come back for dinner, and if she could, she'd ride at night, but she rarely did. She didn't do it all the time anyway. but that was her escape, was get on her horse and go.
That's good fun. I've ridden horse before, but it was a rental that
Hmm.
took you on a trail and this and that. And I wish I
Yeah.
could find the photo. I've tried, but it's somewhere in my hard drive that I can't get in,
Hmm.
unfortunately.
Okay, Linda came in and said, "Yep, we lived in the foothills, miles of open riding territory." Yeah, I've been to the house that she grew up in, and while while the town kind of grew up a little bit, there were a lot of hills, a lot of foothills where they couldn't build, and that was all open territory. So God knows some of her horses' hoof prints are still up in some of those hills. You know, Jim Dockrell says, we rode in the back of pickups and on the parcel shelf in the back of cars too. Jim, you remember the very back seat of the family station wagon? You pull up the handle, flip it up, and you had a two-person seat that faced backwards out the back window. That was my brother and I. That was our absolute favorite place to sit when we went anywhere in the family station wagon. My mom and dad up in the front seat. The back seat was empty. My brother and I way back in the cargo compartment, not a seat belt for miles, just sitting in that thing, watching the traffic behind us.
That's another thing of those decades, I guess. Station wagons. My mom had one.
Mhm.
Um,
I still have a soft spot for station wagons. I love them. I do. I like station wagons. I was 19 years old. I was married to my first wife. I had a 1965 Rambler station wagon. And I kept a couple of um, old sleeping bags in the back of it, and I had the plastic rifle racks in the side window. You get the plastic rifle racks that went in, you expand them, then you had a wing nut to tighten them up to keep them in. They went into the rubber of the window, the seal, and people put rifles in them. I put my fishing poles in there, and little bungee cord things to tie them down, make sure they didn't go anywhere. And that was my fishing rigs. I mean, I had all-terrain tires on it. It was two-wheel drive, six-cylinder station wagon. But if we would take off and go fishing, and when it was time to bunk down for the night, fold the seats down, roll out the sleeping bags, and there you go. It was my recreational vehicle. You know, uh, I still love station wagons. Wish I had one today.
there was a lot of good things about back then. I've been, apart from doing I guess you could call it
Mhm.
um, critique writings and this and that. I've been doing a lot of conserving memories and
Mhm.
doing bits about places in Sweetwater, down in Little Havana, and this and that. And while I do that, I remember details, and so I get to add them in, and in a sense, I relive them at least in my mind
Yeah.
as I'm writing them, and I remember interactions and conversations and all sorts of things. Because what happens is that all those things are stored in my mind because I live them,
Mhm.
but um, without writing them down, um, they're there and they happen once in a while. But if you grab them and write them down, all
Mhm.
of a sudden you've secured that memory.
Mhm.
And I've kind of been doing that and restruct. Like I've been able to all cool things. There's so many cool things of the past, um, and those things are worth remembering. And they have a special, I guess it's because
Mhm.
of the innocence and all that. They have a special, and it's also a memory of not only family, but just the broad culture that existed in the United States.
I
Um,
ha- I have 3 questions about those because I've been reading a few of them.
yeah,
3 questions. Number 1, when you're writing those, Do you have to sit back and think about it? Do you have to sit back? I mean, am I remembering this correctly?
When I don't remember an exact thing, I'll say, um, I'll say something like, if I recall or I think, like I'll be
Mhm.
honest about it, but I'll still
Okay.
write it.
So you'll qualify it. Just
I'll qualify it. Like for instance, I wrote one about us standing. Some things I remember very vividly.
mhm.
My grandparents, mom, dad, standing on the sidewalk in Little Havana, saying goodbye. I remember vividly the first time that I was told what we were.
Mhm.
Um, and my dad looked at me and he said, and I was just there looking at the Victoria Hospital in front of the apartment. And my dad, it was dusk, and my dad looked at me, and they were all talking, adults and this and that. And he said, "Son, you are American."
Mhm.
And I was like a little kid smiling, okay. But it didn't stop there. He says, "I am Cuban." And I said, "Okay, this, I, I understand that. I live with you. Remember that in my mind." Um, and then he said, "And grandfather is a Spaniard." And I remember this, a welling up inside of me of deep, deep sadness and horror and disbelief and just sheer, and I bawled and I ran to my grandfather, grabbed onto his leg, and I said, "No!" I was like, "No!" And the thing is that for my mind at that stage, why am I'm American. I get that. You've identified me. Um, but and you're Cuban, and I get that. And we live at home and stuff, I know. But now you're trying to distance my grandfather another category away from me.
Oh,
Like,
that's what it was? Okay.
yeah, I'm American. Okay, that's a category.
Mhm.
He's Cuban. Okay, that's another category. But you live next door to me, or I'm not next door. You live in the same. I live in the same house as you, and okay. Like I didn't know what all Cuban meant. You know what I'm saying? Like you're a kid.
Yeah.
You're a kid. You're just you. But now he threw out a third category for my grandfather, which I loved,
Yeah.
and I was like, "No, what you're trying to do to me is evil." And I ran up and grabbed his leg, and I was like, and so my dad said, "Okay, okay, let's go."
He's not ready for this.
And so, and we went home. But memories like that,
Mhm.
and some other things like the details, sort of like, but I'll try to sort of at least capture what I remember.
Mhm. Now, my second question on that is, and I'm kind of glad that you brought up the American and Cuban and Spaniard thing. Do you find writing down some of these stories to be therapeutic
Oh yeah.
or kind of cathartic, maybe? Maybe you've exercised a few things that didn't sit right with you before, but now you understand a little bit better. Or that
No,
writing these things down are therapeutic in that it's good to bring back those memories.
it's more like I want them to be alive.
Okay.
I want them to live. I want their memory to live.
Mhm.
Their beings, their who they were,
Mhm.
their values. I want them to live.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not an unreasonable human being. I
Yeah.
know reality, but um, that's really the reason, and it brings comfort to me. Because
I can see that. Yeah.
yeah, I want them to I want them to be alive. I want them to be alive.
Mhm.
And that's just the plain truth of the matter. The
Yeah.
plain truth of the matter is that I am not consolable.
Mhm.
I am not consolable. I'm not consolable to at all.
Mhm.
I want them to live. And
Yeah.
now again, I'm reasonable in that I know reality,
Mhm.
but this is where sometimes reality needs to um, incorporate the things that are that are are bigger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if
I
I.
I, I absolutely 100% know what you're saying.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And they're alive in your heart, and that keeps them alive in your heart.
that's it.
100%. I agree. Now, my third question, I kind of am embarrassed to ask simply because of what you just said and what I just agreed, and some of the emotion that came out of me listening to you say it. This almost seems like a slap in the face, but I don't mean it that way.
No, it's okay.
You are a major fan of comic books, always have been a fan of comic books.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of, because I know you're using AI for the pictures. Have you thought about taking some of the ideas in your brain and creating your own comics?
Like turning ideas into comic books.
Yes.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of that.
Hmm.
You've seen that, right?
I've
That
seen a
that
couple of them. Yeah.
now the thing is that the ones I have done,
Hmm.
like the other day, I did one about the Dukes of Hazard,
Uh-huh.
and I called it the Dukes of Hazardous Endings or something like that. I did a play on words to sort
Hmm.
of critique Americans that have forgotten exactly what we've been talking about, our history in the United States.
Hmm.
Obviously, different people lived in different places and may have had
Sure.
different visions, but I am also like stumped with the whole, like, just decades past there were certain lessons that were kind of ubiquitous. It was kind of like an American standard, but I'm starting to find out that maybe that's not true. But here's the thing: I did a Dukes of Hazard. Well, I asked AI to do one. I want the General Lee, and I want it covered in like grass, like it's been covered up for a long time,
Hmm.
to represent my critique,
Yeah.
you know. Um, and so it did it.
Yeah.
And so I grabbed it. Oh, and I did one of I did one of the the dog, and of Roscoe, and like I did various ones.
Hmm.
And so I added to thing, and boom and bam, and then Harju,
Our buddy Dan.
our buddy Dan, reached out to me and said, "Hey, dude, let me just say, your article, the words are spelled wrong." I says, "Well, what do you mean?" He says, "Look over here," and I went, because when you're involved in
Yeah.
all this stuff, I'm like, who can be your own editor
Yeah.
and not get things wrong? You know,
Yeah.
well, in this case, and I do misspell sometimes or frequently. I
I,
have to go back and fix stuff. What's that?
I do quite often. I am totally supported by spell check.
Yeah, because I'm focused on like doing the story, and and the thing is, but in any event, Harju pointed out that the title
Hmm.
was AI, because I asked AI to do this, that, and the other. AI misspelled the word,
Hmm.
a few words. So I had to take it to Photoshop and this and that. So, anyways, to answer your question, is it's a lot of work because AI is not perfect in
No.
terms of like what you said before,
Hmm.
where if you ask it for an image, even if you're precise,
Hmm.
it might throw something in that's an object that's outside of the norm.
Yeah. Well, I was just wondering if you had, because I know we have talked behind the scenes before, back when we were doing Hangouts, when Google Hangouts were still a thing. Damn you, Google, for taking away our Hangouts. I'll just say that now.
Yeah, that was a fun. That was
Damn
the
you,
best way.
Google, for taking away our Hangouts. Anyway, um, you had some ideas about doing like a radio play or
Yes,
something like that.
yes.
So I was wondering, had you considered turning that radio play into a comic? I mean, I'm talking about several panels that told the story. Now, it's real easy for me to come up with shit for other things, for things. It's real easy to come up with shit for other people to do. But I just wondered, had you considered that?
Um, it's crossed my mind in a slight thing, but a full blown, that it requires a lot. But I like the idea of us, because the idea was all of us having a character,
Hmm.
and like they used to do in the 1930s and stuff.
Yeah, on radio. Yeah.
But we would read it on a Hangout and
Hmm.
record it, and then I would pull the audio,
Hmm.
add sound effects, and create like a serial.
Yeah.
But um, I guess one thing after the other. But I really wanted to, and we could still do it. But here's the thing: I even thought of a plot in my mind,
Hmm.
and the different characters. Um, but then I started thinking about how would people feel comfortable. Like for instance, now I'm going to write dialogue for people, and then I hand it to you. And what if you or Jamie Page? Because I wanted Jamie Page in it.
And you know what that is? That's called acting. It's where you take a script somebody else has written without consulting you and you perform.
Right, but I started thinking the how comfortable like Jamie Page was gonna be the Englishman. Like, I was gonna put an Englishman in the Old West,
Uh huh.
and he was gonna have a role in some sort of like heist or something. And then Steve was gonna be either who was gonna be the narrator?
I thought you were.
No, no, I needed someone with a southern like what we traditionally in the United States like I wanted some draw, somebody that can perform a
I
draw and
I don't know.
well, anyways, I had all this stuff thinking, but what stopped me was, will people even want to do it?
Well, all you can do is ask, but you got to come up with the story, then come up with the screenplay, then come up with the script.
Yeah,
Put it, block it all out, and come up with a storyboard and the whole thing, and then write up the script for each. And then send one to each person. And here's your character, and you go find your things, and we're going to record on this date, that time. If they want to do it, they'll do it. This is something that it took me a long time to figure out. And I kind of got verbally slapped around by a few people to drive the point home. If they want to do it, they'll do it. If they don't want to do it, you can't force them.
yeah, you can.
So, so what you can do is you can write a script with someone in mind. Steve, for instance, you can write a script with him in mind, but that doesn't mean he's going to want to do it. But that's okay. That's okay because there's somebody out there who will do it, you know? But the vision, and this character is based on Steve, his mannerisms, the way he speaks. Now it's up to the actor to portray that.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the idea. I mean this is I think it's a nice potential project
Hmm.
because it changes our positioning
Hmm.
in terms of like what we're typically hanging out for,
Hmm.
and it places us in a sort of fun or different. We're there to do something different that's pre-planned, and I think that
With
it
the
would make
goal.
for a good memory.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like that. So
I
that's
do.
what yeah. I was thinking that, and I mean, it doesn't have to be long. It could be like at best a 10-15 minute
Hmm.
serial.
Yeah.
You know.
It,
So yeah,
if
I like the idea still.
if that long, because it can be done in installments.
That
And that indicates that, well, that's the definition of serial. Comes from series. It's a bunch of, okay, say the whole thing is 20 minutes long. You break it up into 4 or 5 minute chunks, you know and they
yeah,
come out once a week or what have you.
yeah, and there's also so there's a lot of cool projects that we can. There's so many tools that we have now
Yeah,
that there's
there
so
are.
many things we could do like as buddies um that maybe it doesn't it takes some effort but that it's not like outrageous stuff where it's like taxing on us but
Right.
there's plenty of cool little things that we could do
Hmm.
that would sort of like create a moment
Hmm.
that we could look fondly back on and I think that's part of I guess that's the theme that we're talking about is creating moments, myths, legends, stories, memories, you know?
And if you remember, I said it earlier, storytellers are needed. The stories are important, the storytellers are important, and it takes somebody to write the story. It may take others to bring it to life, but then again, the story can still stand on its own. You could you
Exactly.
could you could take that story, that plot that you had figured out, and you could make a Substack out of that and get one AI picture and put it up. You know.
One of the most, in my mind,
Hmm.
American things, U.S.
Hmm.
Um, but this is in my mind, and I'm sure other people agree
Yeah.
to it. But you never know what people might think. But
Right.
one of the most fantastically American themes of the last century was the Twilight Zone.
Hmm.
For me, for me,
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, it's doing all the work. But for me, the myths, legends, stories, and weirdness
Hmm.
set in normal settings, but then it goes all out of whack into some weird thing.
Uh-huh.
Plus, in black and white,
Hmm.
um, it it's a very sort of like it places you
Hmm.
in a very, to me, warm and fuzzy place.
Yeah.
It's warm and fuzzy. It places me in a comfortable place. Things
N-
like that.
Now,
You know,
I remember the Twilight Zone as a kid. There was another show called Outer Limits, which was kind
uh-huh.
of not so much a copy of the Twilight Zone, but a
Yeah,
copy of the Twilight Zone.
yeah.
Then after both of those went away, there was a show, it was on in the 70s, and it was called The Night Gallery. Rod Serling's Night Gallery.
Okay.
And he would go through this quote unquote art gallery, and he would stop in front of a painting, and he would start to tell a little bit about the painting. And this painting is called, and he'd say the name of it, and immediately it would blend into live action and the story would unfold. Very much like Twilight Zone, but with more of a horror take. Um, Obviously toned way down for television, but this was after prime time. So this came on at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night in the 70s. And, I haven't thought of this show in, God, 40 years. I don't know if there are any episodes on YouTube to watch. But it was called um, Rod Serling's Night Gallery.
I got to tell you this because you just opened the door in my mind. Obviously, you remember the Adams family.
Oh, yeah.
In the 80s, there was a chick that did something similar, like a creep show type thing on TV, and she I think her name was Elvira.
Yes. Mistress of the Dark.
Okay, and she was like stacked and all this and that and
Yeah.
whatever.
Cassandra Peterson.
Okay, so in my mind, I never, and this is the first time I even like, but remember, I was a kid, and in the 80s I was growing into it, and so and I was I would see her pop up, and she was a sight to she was a sight for a kid to see. I
Oh,
mean,
baby.
I mean, I'm telling you, it was like, what? This is like the best. Well, here's the problem though that I had. Can you guess the problem I had? No, here's the problem that I had.
I know the problem I had, and I'm 14 years older than you.
Well, this one's aside from that problem, but aside from that problem that we both know and have to. But I used to watch The Addams Family and so on and so forth, and you know how she also looked like in that theme of like
Hmm.
dark, but in black and white. When I was seeing Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and this, that, and the other, I had also been watching reruns, all coagulated in the 80s. So I had the Addams Family plus this Elvira.
Hmm.
And in my kid's mind, I was wondering how the heck that lady never aged.
So you were thinking that was Morticia Adams.
Yes,
I had the same problem with Morticia Adams, by the way. Carolyn Jones was her name. Morticia Adams.
with compared to who?
Hmm? Oh, I
Compared.
didn't compare her to anybody. I knew they were separate people, and
Oh,
I knew that they were. Um, Elvira was kind of, sort of styled a little bit on Morticia, but Elvira hit Victoria's Secret where Morticia Adams hit Queen Victoria's Secret, if you get what I'm saying. you know, everything was covered up from the neck down, but my God, yes.
well, but here's the thing about that. That's
Hmm.
where my confusion got in. What happened with the timeline? In
Hmm.
my mind, nobody, and I had no one to really ask, nor did I care to ask. I just, it was one of those things as a kid you're seeing, and you're like, how's that work?
Yeah.
Um, I thought she was the same lady, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, she's in the '80s and she's dressed up all like that, and so why wouldn't she be dressed up like that? It's a new decade,
Yep.
you know. But in my mind, I thought it was the same darn lady.
No, they're two different women.
Well, I know, but
Elvira was her real name is Cassandra Peterson, and she's actually a redhead.
she was what?
Her name is Cassandra Peterson,
And
the
she was that.
actress that played Elvira, and she's actually a redhead. The whole black hair all over that was all a wig.
Dude, I'm telling you, it was a strange thing for a kid.
If you saw Cassandra Peterson next to a cutout or poster of Elvira, you'd be able to see it in the face, but that would be about it because most of Elvira's look was makeup and everything else.
So she'd come on late at night and she'd be
Mhm.
sitting in this chair and she'd be saying, and she'd be talking whatever, I forget the specific, but she'd
She
be,
was host. She would host horror movies.
okay, so she'd be there and I'd be looking at her and I'm a kid and I'm like,
Hmm.
holy smokes.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, and then I guess the movie would go on and stuff, but I remember it was like, it stuck in my mind, I can tell you that much.
Oh yeah. Al says Elvira was primarily inspired by the 1950s horror show hostess Vampira. Hmm. I'm going to look into that
All
another
of a
day.
sudden, everybody's an expert on Elvira's.
That's because it's a shared experience. And this is not generational because I'm 14 years older than you are. But we were both
Watching
sitting in our
Elvira.
living rooms having the same reaction.
It's like, what the heck?
Yvonne DiCarlo played the wife on the Munsters, Lily Munster. Yeah, my dad saw her on stage during World War II, and I saw her playing. I saw her playing in the play Guys and Dolls. Yvonne DiCarlo was a '40s heartthrob. She was one of she was a serious actress, but much like Betty Grable, she was considered a pinup girl in that they had publicity photos all over the place, and you could get them. If you were lucky, you could get an autograph or something like that. And guys, they this was before posters. They would get these, 5x7 pictures and pin them up on their wall. So that's where pinup girl came from. Was this was a girl you would pin up on your wall, and
Right.
Yvonne DiCarlo was one of those. She was a serious actress. Don't get me wrong; she was in a lot of movies, but the older mom types that you and I grew up with seeing in sitcoms and in TV shows and what have you, in their youth were some serious hottie actresses.
Right.
You know, do you remember? Oh my God, what was the name of that Western show? Big Valley with Barbara Stanwyck and
I don't.
Lee Majors, and no, it was a Western. Okay.
No.
Barbara Stanwyck was a good looking woman back in the day. Lucille Ball was very cute back in the day. You look at some of the old photos and you're like, "Oh my god.
Yeah, but since then,
No
for some
wonder
reason,
Ricky left Cuba, you know?"
yeah, but she, those early pictures which I have seen,
Mhm,
she had that sort of sexy tigress type, or innocent, just whatever you want. But then in the I Love Lucy,
mhm.
because she was doing slapstick, facial, this, that, and the other,
She
it
played
sort
that
of
down. Yeah.
it's sort of like, oh no, in terms
Yeah.
of like the sexiness that you would think of in a pinup, it becomes more of a comedian. It kind of like a Carol Burnett kind of
And
a.
she did that on purpose to get away from that, uh, the previous years. She did that on purpose.
Now Ricky Ricardo left Cuba,
Desi Arnaz, yeah.
or Desi Arnaz left Cuba, um, way prior to the Fidel thing,
Mhm,
because his issue was with the Batistas,
mhm.
or the previous one that from the now.
Yeah.
But they left for Miami because their holdings and everything was in danger. I mean, it was the same. They
Mhm,
had to leave. Um, and so he ended up in Miami and stuff. And then
mhm,
I don't know what this, that, and the other,
mhm,
somehow ended up. Oh, and starring in a movie,
mhm.
as a something with Lucille Ball, and then that all
Uh,
happened.
yeah, and you wanna talk about a success story. Those 2 met on a set. They weren't doing a movie together, but they met on a set at RKO Studios, okay? Started dating, what have you. 5 years later, they were so popular, they bought the studio and renamed it Desilu,
Yeah,
and it was the Desilu Studios.
because of them, they host. We have Star Trek because of them.
Yep,
A bunch of shows
yeah. A whole
because
bunch of stuff was done at Desilu Studios, but it was the old RKO Radio Pictures. 5 years after they met, they bought the studio.
it's just
You
unbelievable.
wanna talk about success.
Now, growing up, again, reruns, because
Mhm.
it was reruns for you too. You know,
At times, yeah, at times, yeah.
I Love Lucy was done by your time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I Love Lucy was in reruns, but I still watched it.
Or, oh no, right, right. And so I watched it too. But in my era,
Mhm.
one of the shows that I'm just bringing this up, one of the shows that I loved when it came on was when Superman, um,
Oh,
from the
George Reeves.
old, yeah, when he, because remember the one where he's on the ledge and this, that, and the other, with
Uh-huh.
Lucy on the ledge, and that's such a famous or popular. They're all funny, but
Mhm,
um, if you think of those old Superman
mhm.
ones
They were in the '50s, yeah.
from the 50s, black and white, and he's,
Mhm.
um, I'm telling you something about the timeline. By the time I come around, Superman is this other guy. What was his name?
Christopher Reeves.
Christopher Reeves. So
No relation to George Reeves.
right, but it's a total different look
Mhm.
of a person in color too, and this and that. So this 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 sort of like smashing together of timelines.
Right.
It's kind of a little. It's kind of trippy, psychedelic in a sense,
Mhm,
even if you don't want to call it that. But it's. I mean, you're watching all the timelines in your timeline,
mhm.
and so that informs
Yeah,
us. It's what passes on, um, the myths and stories and this and that. But today, in today's world, there is no such thing as, in general, a Mark Lindsay sitting somewhere out in Oregon at home watching TV, and someone like me or Al or Jim, Steve, Linda in their respective places watching that same show.
right.
Instead, today, it's like Linda is working on music, Jim's probably messing with guitars and this, that, and the other. Al's repairing old. I mean,
It
um,
it
we don't have we don't there. We have so many, like, radio is not radio anymore. It's like
and TV is
thousands.
not TV anymore.
Right. So there's no continuum glue.
Mhm.
There's no continuum glue, really.
And that has just my opinion time, okay? My opinion time. This is Mark. Let me put it up. My opinion time. To me, I think that has been a major contributor to the breakup of what we call the nuclear family. Because can you remember as a kid how many times you didn't sit down at dinner time and have dinner with your mom and dad?
Yeah, it happened a lot.
It happened, but it progressively as you got older, right?
Yeah, the more you got older. Yeah.
Dinner time was dinner time, and that was it. You
Yeah.
will be home for dinner, and unless you made oh, mom, Joey and Frankie are going out for pizza with their mom, and they invited me. Is it okay? Can I go? That was accepted. Oh, really? Let me talk to Joey and Frankie's mom. Call them up. Okay, yeah, all right. Here we go. And dad slipped me $5. You give that to Frankie's mom. Don't you dare buy quarters for the damn pinball machines.
But why is this
That's what
controversial?
allows, that kind of thing. It's not controversial. What is controversial is that shared television experience in the evening ha- or the lack thereof has been a major contributor to the breakup of the nuclear family. Because now mom and dad may be sitting there watching a show on TV, but big brother is in his room streaming something on his laptop, and sister's in her room streaming something else on her iPad. The family is never together. As you said, we had no glue like we had that kept us all together. When I was growing up, everybody knew who Fonzie was
Right.
because everybody watched Happy Days. We had three networks. Pick one. More often than not, folks are watching Happy Days, then Laverne and Shirley right afterwards.
I know we
There,
did.
there may be some people who weren't watching that, but the whole point was we came in the house for dinner. When dinner was finished, dishes were done. We might have a little bit of time to go hang out in the garage if a friend was over. More often than not, our butts were in the living room and we're watching TV as a family. My dad in his recliner, mom on the one end of the couch, my brother on the other end of the couch, me laying down on the floor on my stomach watching like this.
Yeah.
And my dad hitting me in the back of the head with a beanbag to go turn it up or to go change the channel. I was the remote. And he had a beanbag that he kept in a little bowl next to on the table next to his recliner. And when he wanted something, he would throw that beanbag at me and hit me with it. And then I had to get up, hand him back the beanbag, and then go do what he told me to do.
Good times.
Oh, yeah. Part of what made me what I am today, you know? But, I'll take this down now. I think that we have a lot of choices. We have a lot of options available to
Yeah,
us. But I
we
think
sure
we have
do.
but I think we have too many. And I think what we're seeing is people say they want options.
Yeah.
They'll tell you they want options all the time, but their actions speak otherwise. Because if you pay attention in the grocery store, you will see a person standing there in the cereal aisle looking at five different kinds of Fruit Loops
And always pick the same one.
or five different kinds of Cheerios. You want the ones frosted, you want unfrosted. Oh, here's honey nut. Oh, here's I don't know, screaming yellow lizards. We say we want options, but when you have so many of them, you end up with information overload and you don't know what the hell to pick.
Yeah.
If I guarantee you, if you pick a cousin that lives close to you,
Right.
if you call that cousin tomorrow and say, I want to take you to lunch, guess where we going? And you tell them where I'm going to take you to pizza. Okay, I'll be ready in 20 minutes. But if you call that same cousin and say, hey, I want to take you out to lunch, where do you want to go? They have no idea
Yeah, because the
because
choices.
there's too many options.
Yeah.
So if you take away those options, they're
It's
actually
solved.
happier.
Well, I don't know about happier. Well, we're I mean,
Well, because think about it, the meal is not as important as spending the time with the cousin.
oh yeah.
The fact that you called him up and say, "Hey, I'd like to take you out to lunch tomorrow. Can I take pick you up and take you out to pizza?"
Well, yeah, that's true.
You
You know,
know.
I mean, at the end of the day, we have so many options that it also
Mhm,
paralyzes people, like you're saying.
mhm.
Um, you know, I
So
saw. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was
No,
going
no.
to say so at the so after dinner, if we've all had dinner at the same table anymore, if the family has only three choices between three networks, Dad's probably going to pick the one he wants to watch. Big brother and little sister are going to be there in the living room if they have no other options.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of Back to the Future, where Marty is at his family's home, but in the past, because he
Mhm.
got hit by a car. Remember?
Yeah.
And then they have the honeymooners on,
Mhm.
and so I remember this episode. That's
This
a
is a rerun.
rerun.
Yeah.
What's a
What's a
rerun?
rerun?
And then later, when talking about TVs and stuff, he says, "Oh, we have two." And he says, "Two TVs." And the dad says, "Son, he's pulling your leg.
No,
Who has two? Nobody can afford."
nobody has two TV. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, I don't know. I am looking at the world with rose colored glasses these days, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, it's okay to have the traditions. It's okay to know the background of those traditions. But I think all in all, overall, it's about people. It's about the people you share those traditions with.
Yeah.
Maybe there is something special about sitting the whole family down with a turkey and having Thanksgiving dinner, but it could just as easily be a ham, or it could just as easily be a pizza that somebody bought. It's about the people that you get to sit around and talk and have fun with.
Or how about this? Family reunions on video chat, and
Hmm.
everybody's sitting at home in their respective with TV dinners, turkey to TV dinners.
Sounds like COVID lockdown to me. Who would have thought that that would happen in the 2000s? 2020 was a terrible year. 2021 wasn't a whole hell of a lot better. Linda and I'll tell you the summer of 2025, I'd rather go back to 2020 because at least the two of us were healthy,
I would say
you know?
2016 and 2017 and 2018, the years of the maker community,
Hmm.
or origins, or at least when I stepped into it from 16 to 18, 19,
Hmm.
were good years.
I got into it in 17, so I was kind of late to the party. In fact, you invited me to a little bit of that party. You invited me to join that group, and I did, and I hung out and talked with a few people. That was after a major blow up, but um, I didn't fit in with that group, so I kind of, left it behind. But it was you, Steve, Javi, Patrick, Sterling on occasion, David Jones, Portal Woodworks, um, Bob Lee, who was in here earlier.
Yeah,
All these guys and a few other that, there are too many to name because people came in and left and did that.
yeah.
Um, that group, that entire group, I don't even know how I got invited to that. Doc Hildebrand, um, Dan Haryu. I don't know how I even got invited into that. I really don't know. I met Steve in one of those hangouts and I still don't know who invited me. I don't remember who invited me.
I mean, I know that Jamie Page invited me into the private
Mhm.
chats that we used
I,
to have. I remember that.
I met Jamie Page in Atlanta in 2017 and had no clue who he was. I didn't know him, never met him. It was just this guy. Okay, he's part of the maker community. Well, okay, then he's good. He's good with me. Cool. In fact, I have a sticker. I met Jamie Page in Atlanta 2017, and all I got was this lousy sticker. I had that sticker. I still got it.
It's funny. Oh man. I
And
go ahead.
we just went crazy from there. You were talking about David Jones earlier, Portal Woodworks, and Patrick Curtis Patrick Workshop.
Right.
Those two get together, and oh my God.
Yeah.
Those two would get going on one another. And it was, man, I was laughing my tail. You remember David with the shotgun?
Um.
And Patrick's eyes about the size of dinner plates.
Oh, that's right. He shot up the cardboard cutout.
Cut out. Yeah.
Um. I was gonna mention that I saw a video critiquing. I mean, this is a departure, but sort of in the critiquing AI. And the critique in it was they showed a video that went viral
Mhm.
that got like just continuous
Gazillion.
likes and
Yeah.
engagements, and the whole video was AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and the people think it was real. Like it was some sort of situation where, and so there's another. We could just as well be um, in the near future being catered to with individual AI videos that we could never even figure out if it's true or not.
We already are. We already are. If you look at the videos on Facebook Reels, um, TikTok, Instagram stories, they already are. You already are being bombarded with videos that were completely 100% AI, but are portrayed as being real. It is already a thing.
On another thing, I'm just shooting these off because I'll forget them for the next time.
Mhm.
Um, I just wanted to mention this. I saw a video also, and by the way, I'm gonna tell you this, but just as well, it could be bull, but we could double check. But whatever. Um, like if we really wanted to know, but I saw a video where they showed that they're making using human cells or
Mhm.
stem cells, and then evolving it from that. Um, Organic matter that connects with a chip
Mhm.
that acts as a computer processor. And instead of the pathways that the processor would take in a silicone fashion, let's say, um, these are cells that form highways that make decisions on their own, and organize things on their own. They've done, according to this video, they've done that. And the other one is that they created a 3D printed heart with actual cells,
I
like
don't know. I've not heard of those. I really don't know.
like living cells. Scientists in Israel. Again, I said I saw that. I'd have to double check that it's true, but it appears to
Mhm.
be. They created a heart,
Mhm.
uh, functioning
Of
out of
cells, yeah.
cells.
Yeah.
If that's even true,
If
that's
that's even possible, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
well. Actually, I'll ask it real quick here, just as a here. Did a team in Israel create a heart out of cells? Yes, a team of Israeli scientists at Tel Aviv University created the world's first 3D printed heart using human cells in 2019. So it's not even new. It's been around.
wow.
The miniature heart was made using a patient's own cells and biological materials, including reprogrammed stem cells and extracellular matrix from fatty tissue, and so on and so forth.
That's my next scream name, fatty tissue. That's my next display name.
No,
I
but
gotta
the
write that down.
implications of this is pretty crazy because that means that they could produce any
Mhm.
type of organ just about.
Well, but if they can get it to function and be reliable. Steve says they were working on 3D printing a liver. Okay. With onions or without?
With fava beans.
Fava beans and a nice Chianti. I think it's about time to land the plane. We never did get to that other video, but we can save that for next time because I have some definite opinions on that that kind of dovetail in with something we talked about, I believe, in episode 2 or 3, but they also contradict them. But we'll see.
All right, fair enough. All right, guys, we go live every Tuesday. And by the way, I'm losing the battle. I'm starting to feel that grogginess
Uh oh.
because I've been trying to correct my cycle of sleep and stuff. And I've done good since yesterday. But in any event, we go live every Tuesday. That's not public knowledge, but now it is. We go live every Tuesday at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific Coast time here on the Trampled Underfoot podcast show on YouTube. And well, we do also have a Facebook page, which you can go over there and check out posts and links and images that we paste there according to the topics we talk about. So be sure to check that out. And we also have a website, trampledunderfootpodcast.com. You can catch past episodes, download them as well. And so we are also sponsored by.
Harneum Media. I've been. We were just talking about when. Oh, was it something
No,
I
I'm
said?
there.
Okay. We were just talking about when Steve and I met in one of these hangouts back then. And we've been friends ever since, and we're still friends to this day. He helped me out today with a problem that I was having with a website. 100% because of me. I'm just not very good at it. What can I say? But Steve is very good at it. So let me throw that at you. If you are even toying with the idea of a website and you're looking for 100% personalized service, look no further than Harneo Media. Get yourself over to harneomedia.com. Click that contact us button and talk to Steve. Shoot him a message. He'll work with you. If you know what you're doing with a website, you're just looking for somebody to help you get set up, get started, he's got you covered. If you're like me and have no clue what you're doing with a website, he's got you covered. If you're thinking about merch, you want to create beautiful merch designs with t-shirts, coffee mugs, baseball caps, mouse pads, whatever it is, talk to Steve. He can hook you up with a print on demand company that will take care of all of that. They'll collect the funds, they will collect all the taxes and distribute them to the right proper places, cover all of that stuff. They ship worldwide, which is a big thing in today's world. So, all of this 100% personalized service at a very, very, very competitive price. Do yourself a favor, head over to harneomedia.com. There's a link in every video and live stream on this channel to harneomedia.com. It's that way on purpose. Get over there to harneomedia.com. That is HARNEAL media.com, sponsor of the Trampled Underfoot podcast.com.
Thank you.
Actually waited until I was finished this
I timed it because sometimes I'm
or
trick happy.
score yourself 5 bonus points.
It's not easy to time it right because you can just press it because you think that the person's about to, and then you press it and then you screwed it up. Anyway, that's what happens sometimes.
Yeah, don't overdo it, Linda. You see that? She's not listening. She's taking a walk around the block. Or she would if I didn't have the door locked.
All right, it's time for us to boogie. Thank you guys for hanging out. Have a safe week. Do the things you love, and we'll catch you here next time at the Trampled Underfoot Podcast Show. Peace.
Peace.
I'm trying to find where that button is. I can't see it
Hit,
now.
hit, hit the button, Frank.